Hi everyone, welcome to the Sonar Summit. My name is Kunal Kushwaha. I'm a senior developer advocate at Cast AI and I'm so excited to be here. Look at this title, by the way, humans plus AI, not humans versus AI. Because right now there's a lot of conversation around AI replacing developers and what that means for engineering teams and for individuals as well. Today we're going to cut through that hype. We're going to look at some of the practical realities of how engineering teams are actually collaborating today. And I'm going to show you what the data really says and where the friction is hiding, and also how you can build a team that wins in this era of AI. So no doom and no gloom, just some real talk. I'm very, very happy to be here. Let's get started. So here's a roadmap for the next few minutes. I have broken this down into 5 key areas. The first one being the reality gap. We're going to look at the massive chasm between the AI hype and what actually engineering data is telling us. Some spoiler alert, it's not what the marketing brochures are saying. So we're going to figure that out. Next, we have to talk about human responsibilities, because what is the unwavering core? The stuff that no LLM, no matter how many parameters it has, billions and trillions of parameters, can actually replace. There's always going to be that human touch. Third is the friction points. This is my favorite part, because we're going to talk about the 10-hour paradox and the junior developers scenario for them, like what they are facing. And if you felt like this whole AI thing is sometimes making your job a little bit harder, this is for you. Okay. Fourth, we're going to learn how to adopt strategies. So I'm going to give you some actual frameworks, the do's and the don'ts, so things to keep in mind, green flags, red flags, and please, for the love of God, don't flags of AI governance as well. And finally, the hybrid intelligence. So what does the dream team of the future look like? And there's a lot to pack in. So let's dive straight into the data. Let's start with that first. So let's get real for a second. We have all seen LinkedIn posts. I love LinkedIn, in all honesty. It says that AI was supposed to turn us all into like 10x engineers overnight, but the narrative promised this massive instant productivity explosion, basically magic transformation. But look at what is actually happening in the trenches. Organizations, as you can see on my slides, using AI coding tools are seeing roughly around 15% productivity improvement. Don't get me wrong, 15% is meaningful. I'm not saying that it's not, but it's definitely not revolutionary. Let me know what you think in the live chat. Developers themselves are rating the actual speed boost at around 2.23 out of 5, and the overall cycle times, how fast we actually basically ship, are staying pretty much flat. Okay, so what is the vital takeaway from this? We didn't get 10x engineers. We unlocked like a 1.15x engineering organization. Okay, little bit of a progress, but that distinction changes everything about how we approach AI. Because if you try to manage a team expecting 10x output, you're going to burn them out. And that's not cool. Okay, you shouldn't do that. But if you focus on how that 1.15x gain scales across an entire organization, that is where you actually start to win. Now, I know I just burst the bubble of 10x engineers. 10x engineer isn't the one who does 10x amount of work. It's the engineer who makes other 10 people better. That's the quote by Kelsey Hightower. He said it better than me, so you can find it on one of his talks. But don't go, don't delete your Copilot subscriptions. I'm not trying to demotivate you, so don't do that yet. While this total transformation hasn't happened, the specific wins are actually kind of mind-blowing when you look at the data from places like Microsoft and Accenture. Check these numbers out. As you can see, we are seeing like a 26% increase in completed tasks. So that is basically like, so what is 26%? It's like you get your Friday back, okay, every single week. And look at that 6x jump in test generation. So I don't know about you, nobody wakes up hyped up to write boilerplate unit tests. If that's you, then please reach out to me. I might have some roles for you. But AI taking that off your plate is a massive win for your own sanity. Because I mean, that's the whole point. It's about giving developers the time back to solve more problems. There's so many problems in this world, and if AI can do these mundane tasks for me, then why not? But the real kicker is that look at the far right. Okay, 3 times more likely to generate top tier ideas. There was a PNG study that found an individual with AI cloud match the creative output of a 2-person human team during ideation. Okay, so this basically tells us something significant, that AI is not just like a typewriter. Okay, it's a brainstorming partner. I am very with this statement because I use AI for brainstorming quite a lot. So it's not like replacing the engineer, it's replacing, what's the word I'm looking for? Drudgery. Okay, so it's clearly cleaning up the busy box out of the way so you can actually focus on the high level design and the creativity, the problem solving that human beings we are pretty good at. So if you just take away one thing from this talk today, let it be this, the 10-hour paradox. On the left side of the graph, you can see that AI is doing exactly what it promised. It's writing your boilerplate. It's generating those unit tests. And it's basically handling and it's giving you 10 hours of your life back. Okay, every single week. So you are coding faster than ever. You are a rock star. Life is good and everything is perfect. But then the right side happens. You save 10 hours in the IDE. Very cool stuff. But you are losing them immediately to the organizational friction. So you lose them to Slack notifications, that whole death loop. You lose them because the requirements for a ticket were so vague that you spent 2 hours prompting an AI for something that the business didn't even want. I have done that. You lose them to tool switching and broken CI/CD pipelines. I've done that too. What is the hard truth here? AI is just a faster way to reach a bottleneck. Okay, so if your process is broken, AI is not going to fix it. It's just going to make the crack in the foundation more obvious. So improving the developer experience isn't just about giving everyone a better LLM. Okay, it's about cleaning up that friction so we actually get to keep the time that AI is saving us. Because you save 10 hours, you spend 10 hours doing stuff that shouldn't be requiring 10 hours, net gain is zero, sometimes negative. So that is the 10-hour paradox, which is something I want you to think about deeply. So AI is writing the code and generating test cases. What do I do now? Do I retire? I can't retire. I'm 27 years old. Am I just a prompt engineer now? No. There is a set of core responsibilities that AI simply cannot touch because these responsibilities require a soul and they are not just an algorithm. So for example, intent and context. AI can tell you how to build a bridge, but it has no idea why you are building it. There are some trade-offs as well. Every engineering decision is a balancing act. Performance versus readability, speed versus security. Those aren't math problems. So they are value judgments. Also accountability. When the site is going down at 3 a.m., ChatGPT is not the one that is getting paged. You are. So you own the legal, ethical, professional consequences of that code. Also, around 27 to 33% of AI generated code has security vulnerabilities. That is almost like one line in every 3 lines of code. But if we're not being replaced, then how is our day-to-day actually changing? We are seeing 3 major new roles emerge that I like to call the human AI bridge. The first one, we have the AI trainers. So think of these folks like the mentors. They're not just writing code, they are basically curating the data and fine-tuning models so that the AI actually understands your specific domain and not just like generic patterns. Next are the AI explainers. So this is basically like a universal translator role. Okay, you are basically bridging the gap between a black box model and a stakeholder who needs to know why they should trust a specific output. So it's about building confidence through that context. And finally, they are the AI sustainers. These are the guardians. They are monitoring for drift, bias, and making sure that the AI doesn't go rogue and, on the organization values. So keeping things in check. The interesting part is that these are not future sci-fi roles. These are the extensions of the engineering work that you are doing right now. It's part of the human-centered AI design, keeping the person in the driver's seat while the machines are handling the heavy lifting. Let's get into some stuff that people don't usually mention in the sales pitches. We have 4 major hurdles here. The first one is the trust gap. 60% of us don't trust AI generated tests enough to ship them, and we end up double checking every line. So you're actually not saving any time. You're just changing your bio to code auditor. There's the learning curve tax. Management loves to skip that part, but experienced developers, the ones who know what they're doing, actually slow down by nearly 20% when they first start using these tools. It's a short-term hit that leadership must account for, or they just think that the team is like getting lazier, which is not true. And let's be real, AI was trained on beautiful modern GitHub repositories. It absolutely freaks out when it sees your 12-year-old legacy monolith. That legacy mismatch is actually quite real. But the biggest one is the empathy gap. 63% of developers feel like their leaders are just throwing tools at them without understanding the actual day-to-day grind. Everyone's using AI, we will use AI. Use this. You can't just install productivity, okay, from the top down. You have to listen to people who are actually writing the code. We need to talk about the elephant in the room. I call it the senior developer factory problem. So every hiring manager wants a senior developer with 10 years of experience, okay? But here's the paradox. Seniors don't just spawn into existence at the level 50. They come from junior people, come from interns come from students. But if we let AI do all the junior work, we are cutting off that ladder, okay? Look at the choice a new developer faces today. On one hand, they can lean on AI, they ship fast, they hit their targets, but they develop a shallow understanding. They are shipping code they can't actually explain or debug when things go sideways. On the other hand, if they write manually to actually learn the foundations, they look slow compared to the AI augmented developer. So the pressure to just use the tool is massive. And this is the most underappreciated skill in AI adoption. If we only optimize for today's productivity, we are quietly dismantling tomorrow's talent pipeline. Because we have to be intentional with it. We need to create protected spaces where juniors are allowed to be slow, they're allowed to fail, and they're allowed to learn the why and not just the how. Allow me to introduce you to GIST, GenAI induced self-admitted technical debt. Look at this chart. We are seeing a massive spike in debt where the developer knows that the code is shaky, but they ship it anyway. Now, this is not because developers have suddenly become lazy. Okay, I'm not saying that I'm a developer myself. It is a signal that our AI adoption is outpacing our comprehension culture. So we are so focused on getting that green check marks in the CI/CD pipeline that we are forgetting a fundamental rule of engineering. If you can't explain it, you don't own it. We are essentially trading long-term system health for a 5-minute quick win. So if we want to win with AI, we have to make sure that our ability to understand code stays faster than our ability to generate it. So how do we actually do this without it becoming a total mess? You can't just flip a switch. You need a roadmap. I have broken this down into 3 phases that actually work in the real world. Phase 1 is about the wipe check. So don't force it on everyone at once. Find those AI champions in your squad, the ones already obsessed with it, and then let them lead. So get your managers on board so that, obviously they are not surprised by the 20% learning tax that we spoke about earlier, and celebrate the small wins early. That really helps. Phase number 2 is the cleanup. This is where you get serious about quality. You use custom lint rules to catch those AI hallucinations before they reach a pull request. You standardize your context with things like cursor rules, and so the AI actually knows what it's looking at. And more importantly, you ask your developers, you run surveys, you do things that are they actually trusting the tool, or are they just fighting with it, right? And phase 3 is where you scale. So you stop doing the guesswork and you just look at the data, the usage, the Git activity, and the sentiment. So you build that context infrastructure so that the AI is not just like a generic chatbot, but a specialized partner that understands your specific architecture. I want you all to remember that AI adoption is not a sprint, it's a marathon where you're constantly checking the pulse of your team. And if you're looking for a TLDR of this entire talk to get to your team on Monday, this is it. These are the rules of engagement. On the do slide, think of AI as a very fast, very confident intern. You must understand before you ship, always ask for an explanation before the code generation, and counterintuitively, you need to scrutinize AI code more, not less. So it's about, it's actually great at being mostly right, which is the most dangerous kind of wrong. And also keep your manual coding skills sharp. Don't let your engineering muscles get rusty just because you now have a really powerful tool. Now for the avoid list. For the love of everything, do not treat AI as a silver bullet. If your processes were a mess before, AI just helps you make a mess at 10 times the speed. Okay, and look at that stat. 88% of the teams are using AI, but only 23 or 32% actually have an AI policy. So that is Wild West. We have to move past the vibe-based adoption. Don't be the leader who just drops a tool from the top down and expects magic. It's not going to happen. Talk to your developers first, listen to their friction, and remember, we are building a culture of comprehension, not a factory of consumption. So where does this leave us? Hybrid intelligence. It's not about the machine catching up to the human or the human becoming the machine. It's about a division of labor that actually makes sense. We let the AI handle the scale, the volume, the repetition, and that soul-crushing boilerplate. In return, we reclaim that space to handle what actually matters, the ambiguity, the ethics, and the architectural vision that defines a great system. We have seen the headlines. By last year, we saw millions of jobs displaced, but even more were created. The winners weren't the companies that fired these developers to save on headcount, save some money, but the winners were the ones who figured out how to make their human and AI dance together. So when you get this right, you don't just work faster. You work on things that were literally impossible to build 2 years ago. We are moving into an era of software engineering to an era of system orchestration. The code might be generated, but the intent is entirely yours. Thank you for your time. Let's go build something great together, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. See ya.